The Pagemaster opens with...
Out of soundboard.
Fuck.
That's fine. That's fine. I just want to announce to our very...
you want me to go get it?
No, it's really fine. I don't know that our soundboard is thrilling the masses. It's fine. It's fine.
I sort of suspected
that
you wouldn't use it.
I have made it a point to sort of use it.
You have to make a point to you. I mean, you need more time with it for it to become second nature. It's like an artificial limb. You have to
absolutely. So we're
going to
use this moment as a chance for you to lecture me about how I'm not using my toys correctly.
Yeah.
Well, maybe if someone would give them to me every single time, I could get a little more used to them. Mm-hmm. So we see how we can flip this conversation around.
Again, I can go get it you so fast.
You could, but won't do it. Oh, he's gone. Okay, well. You're really proving that you're kind of fussy and helpful. You're a helpful, fussy man. Well, the Pagemaster took a page out of the book called Boring and decided to make a totally fine movie that makes me feel nothing afterward. Have I encapsulated?
Yeah, I don't even think we need to finish the episode.
Episode over. It's not easy to review a movie that is specifically aimed at children. Of course, as an adult, I mean, this is what's interesting about nostalgia is it didn't get a chance to become important to me when it was aimed at me. So I don't know that it's fair.
Of course it's fair. This is media criticism. This is art criticism.
Be better.
We disentangle our own feelings of nostalgia. And I know I'm weird because I resent my nostalgia. My nostalgic for things makes me think things are worse than they actually are.
Yeah.
But we have takes, we have personas, we have histories, and we're going to use these lenses to view the things we watch and say what we see. And what we see here is a pretty crappy movie. But here's why. We'll start with scene 1. No, wait.
Open.
The movie opens with animated credits and some Disney font, and it looks kind of good. And I'm like, okay, maybe.
Kevin McAllister in a bed, please and thank you.
Before that, there are I've now watched the movie again. This is our customary wardrobe change break in between recording sessions, and I've watched the movie again. And I think there are 3 sections where the animation is really good. And it's like they spent all the money and time there and then the studio pulled the funding.
Are the moments where they incorporate books into the scenery? Because I do like that. They're hidden all throughout. I like that it's not super obvious. I did make that note. There were good animation choices.
Well, it's a good idea.
I think it was executed well at certain points too. Because it wasn't always like, oh, book.
Yeah.
Then sometimes it was like, oh, book.
Oh, book. And
then it was, oh, book.
The opening credits have that Disney font, and it's really throwing a lot at you. And the score by James Horner, it's egregious how much this is aping Home Alone. It is just do Home Alone. It's Home Alone, license-free Home Alone music.
You might have just hit on something. Okay, so it has happened once or twice that I've had what I would say is a nightmare client. Mm-hmm. Since I'm a graphic designer and I have the capability of designing things, that means I also have the capability of copying other people's work and letting someone else pass it off as their own. And I think you might have discovered that maybe several people involved with this project, through no fault of their own, were asked to just do this.
Yeah.
Make it different enough that we're not in trouble. Mm-hmm. And that feels dirty. I mean, we all take inspiration from each other, but just straight up beat per beat, but change it enough.
Make it feel like it. And you know what? You're not John Williams. You're James Horner. If you try to imitate John Williams, it's just going to sound like James Horner.
Right.
That's because there's only one James Horner. You're an individual, baby.
You don't know how to expand on him. You're not him, man.
And that's how people justify it. I do it. If I try to imitate somebody, I'm still going to change it so much because I'm me.
Wait, so you're saying this is okay that they did this?
I'm saying this is what they're telling themselves why it's okay to do. When instead it just feels like royalty-free John Williams knockoff.
It's very rare that I've had someone be like, okay, that's still not enough like the first thing. So if you could just put some other items back here. And to the point of, I'm just saying these clients are few and far between, thankfully.
James
Don't
Horner's
worry, I'm not talking to you.
Made a lot of great scores. I'm not saying he's a hack. I'm saying...
Okay.
Maybe he presented a totally original score that totally fit the movie and they're like, no,
right.
We want this. All right. Well, then we meet Richard Tyler, played by Macaulay Culkin, and this is his room. And the first 10 minutes of the movie live action, directed by Joe Johnston, who's a good director and has a good visual style and is good at set decoration. I think his room is a really great set. These first 10 minutes of the movie make you think this is going to be a good movie. It's nothing. There's nothing remarkable about it. It's just like, oh, this is all pretty solid. I mean, his room. We pan around his room and we see he's a little scaredy cat. He's got signs all over his room, but you notice like there's a fire extinguisher in a glass case and it says in case of fire, break glass. And then next to it is in case of broken glass, use these, but that's a homemade sign. And so you can sort of tell yourself a story. Like his parents are like, okay, we'll indulge our fucking kid and buy him a fire extinguisher, but no, we're not going to give you a no smoking sign. So he has to make one himself. That's kind of funny.
He's got to do something with this time. We already know the kid doesn't go outside, climb up anything or read.
Yeah.
So
something has woken him up. We don't know what. And he goes to tell his parents that he's scared, but he hears them. They're still awake and they're talking and they're like,
some sexy pillow talk. You know who sucks, darling? Our son.
Our son's a damn coward. Don't you think? He brought a medical journal to Little League.
That sounds like the right place for it.
Then it's the next day and Ed Begley Jr. as the father is building him a treehouse. And this is a wonderful looking tree house. Of course,
standard.
The law with kids is if you build them a tree house, that guarantees they won't use the tree house. If you buy your kid anything for the backyard, that guarantees they will not use the thing in the backyard.
They have to have begged for it or built it themselves.
He asked Richard to bring him some nails because he's like, hey, can I get my little pussy son to climb the ladder? Hey, little pussy, you want to climb the ladder? And he's like, hey, Dad, I'll send the nails up in this bucket. And he's like, no, climb the ladder. And he's like, no. 8% of all household accidents involve 70%. Ladders. No, 8%. I wrote this
75.
down. 75. And his dad's like, motherfucking God. Okay.
Well, fuck the dad. He's not meeting him where he is.
Okay. But he also did this to the kid. And now he's like, he and the wife are like, fuck, we fucked up the kid. We gotta fix this.
Tell me that story.
Son, I want you to go down to Gutman's hardware store, buy a pound of these
Wait.
nails.
You skip the fact that he totally kills his dad.
And he hits his dad with the bucket. His dad falls off.
Proving Macaulay's point.
But this is all about how the problems we are trying to prevent, we actually cause them to happen.
It's impossible to avoid all danger. That's not how life works, kid.
He's like, please go down to Gutman's hardware store. And this is an insane thing to ask a kid to do. It's not like they live in like a downtown Main Street. It's like, get on your bike and ride 3 miles to the Walmart or whatever. And he's like, but Dad, and his dad's like, son, you can't live your life based on statistics. This was a pre-Moneyball world. You have to keep telling yourself that.
I would say we all live life based on statistics. We are.
So as Macaulay is walking away, there's this catchphrase, the Macaulay Culkin catchphrase they're trying to get going in this movie, which is, this is not good.
Oh, yeah.
This is definitely not good.
It's super fetch, though. So maybe that'll get going.
Super what?
Fetch, which is the tagline that in Mean Girls they tried to get going.
I've never seen Mean Girls.
Yeah, well, the you problem. The rest of us will get the joke.
Okay, but you're talking to me, and I haven't seen Mean Girls.
I'm talking to the audience, and I also wanted to expose you for not having seen Mean Girls. So,
it is a movie I haven't seen.
Oh my God, we
can't all see every movie.
You're trying to think of like a really important one I haven't seen right now, huh?
No, of course not.
Yes, you are. You're going to yell it.
So Richard gets on his bike, and this bike is decked out with lots of safety equipment and has headlights. It has a warning siren, and he's wearing
a shield,
a reflective jacket, and like a loser, he's wearing a helmet. And he sees some badass kids who are on this insane bike ramp, and he's just like looking at them longingly, and they're like, hey, Tyler, where you going? The moon? And then he rides away.
I thought that was a decent joke. He looks like an astronaut.
Yeah. Good job, kid. Yeah.
Just saying, there were other kids that say far less funny things. You pick out the one funny thing. Rude.
You get cable on that thing?
Okay, that was also good. See, these kids
Your
are
mother
zingers.
sucks cocks in hell, Tyler. So it's starting to storm, and lightning strikes a nearby tree. At this point, if lightning struck a tree by the kid, like he'd be like shitting himself and vomiting and like.
Right. If this kid is as scared as they say he thinks he is, he sure is already doing a lot of hard stuff, like going into a 2-way street tunnel that has no side to it.
This is the tunnel
where the kid can die.
This is the tunnel from Roger Rabbit and Back to the Future 2. It's an iconic movie tunnel. he rides through, it's raining, he's got to get out of the rain. Where is he going to go? He finds sanctuary in this library, this beautiful library where he meets
the most close talker of them all, Christopher Lloyd, who is so excited to have a child in the library, really preaching, like just kids these days. Oh, wait till he hears about the internet. He's going to be so pissed. And I know it's his charm. It's why this performance was effective in this moment, but the amount of time he stares at Macaulay, like confused by what kind of creature just walked into the library. And then once he is excited, just 3 inches from his face.
Well, the library doesn't appear to be closed, but it's dark. There's no one in there. Like, this is a beautiful library. This library would be packed with people. But he's like, what's this?
They don't have Wi-Fi.
Oh, I know what you want. I have a talent for knowing what people want. So he starts like pitching him. I know what you want, a fantasy. You want a fantasy. Never like name specific books, just genre. I'll shout genres at you. Hurrah, hurrah.
Like, actually what I need are some free copies. I need to use your Xerox.
You get 50 cents of free copies. What do you think of libraries? You like libraries, Lacey?
I like the way they smell. They feel homey to me. It is where I went after school, after all, for all of my high school years, because I didn't have any aftercare, and there was a library right by the school.
But this means you have positive.
Well, because it meant school was over.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why. But I like the smell of books. I like the smell of media, physical media.
Yeah.
I smell your DVD sometimes, not the Blu-ray. Gross.
Can I use the phone? He asks. And Christopher Lloyd, the devastation on his face now, like, damn, I thought I had a sale.
Yeah, right. They're free. Well, I purposely put the phone really far back there. Really far.
But he does give him a library card without the kid asking. And he's like, sign this. And he does. Here's your library card. But I don't want a library card. And
paper cuts.
He directs him to the phone. And yeah.
He's super pissed.
I couldn't find where this library was. I'm sure it's not a set. The exterior is the Natural History Museum in Los Angeles, but I couldn't see where the interior was. But I did find out this movie was filmed in 1992 and Richie Rich was filmed in 1994. So we get a full two years of Culkin growth.
I do like the parts where okay. What is his name in the movie?
Richard.
Okay, so Richard and Richie Rich. Okay, so Richard finds the rotunda, which is just this really cool part of the library where all these rows of books merge. I hope that's real. I love it. And then it's got this big like Sistine Chapel type thing at the top, and every single one of the paintings seem to intrigue and frighten him for some reason because color. And then the ceiling starts dripping, and I liked that part of the animation. Some of it looks CGI, but then whenever it turns into waves and the waves are like swishing around the books and things are getting painted, I thought that was one of the high points of the animation. Sorry. He's looking up at the art. He's still dripping wet for some reason, and when he looks really high up, he slips and instantly knocks his fucking self out. So this entire thing's based on a dream. How original.
And that is like so uninspired. He fell and hit his head, and that's why the movie happens.
Great. Wizard of Oz.
Like, it couldn't have been like a little more, just something like so.
I'd even take falling asleep over like head trauma. it's just so boring.
But then the looks up at the mural on the ceiling, and like you said, it's a cool idea that like the paintings up there start melting, and the paint melting onto the ground is what turns him into a cartoon. Yeah. I'm a cartoon.
I liked that.
Yeah.
But then when you see, so it's like, oh fuck, it's gonna catch him. Yeah, I can't wait to see Macaulay Culkin as an animated character. And then it looks fucking nothing like him. And he's like gray. The colors are very flat.
He looks so bad.
There's no shading. His lips are too pouty. I know that's kind of his thing, but I don't need it. He just looks like Ellen DeGeneres. Like,
it doesn't look enough non-Disney, like either imitate Disney or go completely in the opposite direction, but this is a half measure, and it looks like shit. And
it looks like you're saving money. I mean, where's the shading?
I hate the character design, and I hate the animation as executed. But and then another bad thing about Macaulay Culkin is when you don't get to see his face and his expressions and stuff.
He's just any kid.
Not good. His performance as a voice actor is, hey, just be really loud. I want to be safe.
Okay, well, that's interesting. And if I watched it again, maybe I'd notice that. But like, that's usually my take or the thing I see and it bothers me.
In animation?
I guess not animation, but like when kid actors, their thing is to just take it from 1 to 11 constantly, like Atreyu and Neverending Story, and then Luke in what's it called? It's called Star Wars. Just kids or young people who just go, ah! And I didn't totally notice that here. Maybe that's because all the other characters are also loud and have these interesting quirks about them, and they all seem to be talking all at once all the time.
At least the other characters, like the other actors, have a take on the character. I
liked all 3 of the books.
Not just made me realize Macaulay Culkin, that look is everything. The way he looks, the faces he makes.
Yep.
He just have his disembodied voice is not good.
Not good. And just an oversight. They made his shoes are 2 colors, and they matched the only 2 colors of the floor tiles that he's walking on for a long time. And it's just like, man, what a weird oversight. He's doing it for minutes, and it's just you tried to make this look really pretty, and that you're ruining your contrast.
Then the Pagemaster shows up. He's a big wizard who looks a lot like Christopher Lloyd, and he's voiced by Christopher Lloyd. Now, in my memory, the Pagemaster is a thing that appears at the end of the movie, and that would make sense. You're supposed to be building to this mythical figure who you finally meet in the
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, but it's like, no, you meet him here, and he's like, I'll be back later. Yeah, here's some stuff.
He tells you the beats of the movie. Mm-hmm. You'll have to do this, and this, action, adventure, and fantasy, or whatever. And I'm like writing those down, like, okay, I'm ticking these off as soon as they fucking happen.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot wait. And that's all you do. You're just waiting.
It's going to take about 38 total minutes.
Right. You just, like, okay, is this count horror? Is it over? Okay, tick. Mm-hmm.
I liked, when I was a kid, I really liked Alice in Wonderland type stories of going into a weird parallel world. Mm-hmm. They kind of have dream logic. You think the way you're told that's the way out, but you find, it's more complicated than you think. I loved that the exit sign was in the sky.
I loved it. Like it was a mirage, like it keeps getting further away. Uh-huh. It never looks any closer, any further away. That's cool. And it seems like something that would happen in a dream. Like you have a focal. This man said, go use the phone in the scary library and just if you get lost, find your way out with the exit sign. So the real life, not dreaming kid would be thinking exit sign. He's like saying it over and over in his anxious little head. So that just seems very dreamlike. I think that's well observed. Look at his shoes, Matt.
Yeah, you're right. Wow, that's
obnoxious.
Crazy.
And it's the same yellow as his hair, and his jeans aren't very different.
Yeah, they couldn't afford like an 8th color.
Well, it's a strange choice. Plus, no one wears shoes that color ever.
I forgot. I wanted to mention Christopher Lloyd as the librarian. He is the reverse of the bookstore owner from Neverending Story, who when the kid, when Bastion goes into the store, he's like, I don't like kids. Get out, you little shit.
Yeah, well, that was a bookstore, not a library.
Yeah, a child. So, look to the books, he says. What happens when he looks to the books?
Books start dropping off the shelves that are going to be his best books forever? I don't know.
Yeah, these books come to life and they're little characters.
Why only 3?
That's all we got.
There's a lot of books.
Well, tell me about these books.
Okay, well, there's a fantasy book and an adventure book. He meets adventure first, and then he meets horror book at last. I do not know the voice actor for the pirate.
Patrick Stewart.
Okay, but he's good. I mean, good voice actor. And then when I notice that the book is Whoopi, then I do perk up because she's fun. Her delivery is just good. She knows her fucking style.
And this was the same year she was a voice in The Lion King.
Okay.
So there's that.
Oh, she's really good there. Yeah, I mean, the books are just tropes of the thing that they represent. And they all have this ambition of getting checked out. The overall message of the movie, if it has one, is books are your key to not being scared anymore. Not enough kids read. These books are so lonely and so sad they never get checked out. And I was thinking, when was Toy Story made? Because I don't need the guilt of another thing I'm not playing with enough. I don't need them to be sad. I want them to be happy. But the most of the time, they live in that library. Mm-hmm. Would they have fun for 3 days? and then they go back. That's fucking sad.
Yeah, it suggests
like that.
books like the toys in Toy Story. They get a utility out of you taking them from the library, taking them to your home and reading them. It makes them come, I guess.
And then putting them back. Like you only have them for a week at the most.
That's the point. You know,
you can't just hope for you
can't be coming all the time.
Just hope for an irresponsible child and parent. Like, take the fines.
They don't like that either. I think that makes them nervous. They want to go out for a little while.
Well, he takes them out forever.
It's like Rumspringa.
Sure. And tub thumping.
So Patrick Stewart is the voice of adventure. He's doing a pirate voice. If you watch Star Trek The Next Generation, you'll see Patrick Stewart loves to be a sailor, a pirate, Gilbert and Sullivan singing ship seaman. So he must have been in heaven here.
Do you think the director just said, pick any adventure character that a kid would notice? And he was a pirate. I'm a pirate.
It's an obvious. He's doing the obvious thing.
Yeah, I don't know. But you just said it's his favorite.
Yeah, so
maybe he was supposed to be fantasy at first. Like, no.
So he must have been in heaven. But so a thing happened with voiceover acting in the name a voice from Beauty and the Beast.
Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, Angela is like the most famous person from that. A few years later, you'd have Mel Gibson is in Pocahontas, and
right.
Tom Hanks is in Toy Story, and then after that, the DreamWorks starts really selling their animated movies based on the mega talents. And I think
you're right. I never thought about it.
The change is probably when Robin Williams plays the genie in 92. But this movie does have a mixture of Whoopi Goldberg's a movie star, Patrick Stewart's a TV star. But then the third book, Horror, is played by Frank Welker, who's a voiceover acting legend. He's Fred from Scooby-Doo. He's Megatron. He's Kermit from Muppet Babies. And I do think that his voice of the horror book seems like it's in a totally different movie.
It does.
Tonally.
It does. And just that he's playing someone that needs help, needs guidance. He's like kind of the kid stand-in. I don't know. The rest of them seem capable.
They do.
I mean, he's capable of being in his section. I guess he just gets scared when he's in the other section.
It's just an interesting mixture of do we want to go all voiceover pros or do we want to go with live action actors?
Seems like they only have one voiceover pro.
Well, they have Jim Cummings as Long John Silver.
Well, there's your cum.
Yeah, there's some very exhausting library antics, but they eventually get out. They enter the horror section. Again, this is a cool idea. Is the horror section is a haunted house. It's a graveyard and a big gothic castle, but it's
But the only properties they have are the ones that none of us give a shit about. Oh, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. What all kids are craving. You know what I realized for the first time watching this movie is oh, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was just made as a allegory for a person who's an alcoholic. Okay. They change at night. Because when he drinks it's don't drink it. Don't drink it. Now I'm mean.
Yeah. Do you like classic literature? What's the
what's the most classic thing I've ever read?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, The Giver is classic.
Let's say from the 19th century or earlier. Because The Giver was the 70s?
How dare you? Mom. I guess I haven't. No, I don't like it. Okay. I don't. I get it. Oh, Anne Rice? No, fuck, that's not. Those people are old. They're vampires. Yeah. Yep. I mean, unless I was forced to read it for school. So no, I'm not going out of my way for any Tolstoy. Dostoevsky.
I feel a constant nagging, I need to read more old books. I don't do that enough. I read Frankenstein a few years ago and it was amazing.
I read Stephen King's It. That's a big old book.
It is.
So I read that.
It is, but that came out when you were a 1-year-old baby.
I didn't read it then.
Yeah.
No.
Anyway, I don't know. They were public domain classic literature. Wishbone was out at the same time. It's let's show kids all this stuff.
Frankenweenie? Wait, what's Wishbone have to do with any of this?
Wishbone.
Oh, it's a show. Got it.
And they would put out the books. They'd put out books kid-friendly versions of Tom Sawyer and stuff. And I was very into it.
Got it. Well, this just doesn't the properties they're able to use in this movie, it doesn't do it any favors. I'm sure there's ways to make it interesting. It's not totally interesting, but they're all tropes. So there's nothing that's going to surprise you in what you're watching. And it all makes it all feel very off-brand serial. like there's nothing new here. You couldn't have just created your own, like it's about books, but books are everything. So you couldn't have just created your own idea of what horror is, your own thing of what fantasy is. Like what that at least would have been something to discover. But no, just the shit you've always heard of.
With fantasy, they don't go into a specific fantasy novel. They don't go into, I don't know what they would go to, Lord of the Rings or Alice in Wonderland.
No, but they're totally mining all princess. I thought it was a weird choice to be like a fairy godmother book. I don't think of any of that as fantasy. Like I don't. It's all like Prince Charming and princessy. Didn't you feel that was the vibe? It didn't. I don't know. It just didn't strike
That is fantasy,
for
but
me.
I mean, fantasy. The definition is just it has magic. That it takes place in a world where magic is real.
So it's horror, if you ask me. But all right.
Okay. But wait, even the specific story, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, like go into Dracula, go into
right. You're
something
in
better.
the big giant house. Like at least do big giant house stuff. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I think I've seen a movie about that, and he's just in an apartment. I know I have. Mr. Jekyll and Mrs. Hyde. It was a terrible. It was the same lady that's in Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, and she's in a gender bending role.
Sean Young.
Yeah, and then she does this movie somewhat close by, and again she's in a gender bending role. Like
it also all feels kind of theme parky. Like you're going through these famous scenes. You're not really an active participant, but everybody's telling you are. Like, Richard, you gotta help him. Oh, I can't. I'm too scared. So someone else will help. Like the horror book gets caught under a chandelier. That's so it feels like a theme park ride. They're talking to you like, you gotta help Dr. Jekyll. Don't let him drink the thing. Oh no, he did. And now you see it all happen.
Yeah, it is interesting to have 4 characters that aren't very powerful trying to get through all this. That's the point. You don't have to be a big strapping adult.
Jekyll and Hyde are Leonard Nimoy. That's kind of cool. On the shelves, because sometimes you will see
Patrick
books.
Stewart. Leonard Nimoy, isn't he also in Star Trek?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I saw The Shining, Salem's Lot, and The Exorcist on the horror bookshelf. So I think those are the only non-public domain books.
Okay.
Oh, wait,
I read The Shining.
Atlas Shrugged is also in this.
So fucking random. Or not even random. It was worse than random. It was like, why? It's a political book. Like, why even?
I thought
Schindler's List.
They find it in the fantasy section. I thought, like, are they doing a joke? Like, it does have to be in fantasy to believe this nonsense.
Okay, that seems.
So Richard, he conquers his fear by climbing down the side of the castle, where they get to the ocean, and they see the exit sign is in the sky.
It wasn't inside the building at all.
But he's like, look, there's the exit. Oh, it's 1 billion miles away over the horizon. Let's go.
Also, this whole time, fucking fantasy can fly. Just like take them with you.
Like, why couldn't Gandalf's eagles just have flown Frodo into Mount Doom the whole time?
To the sign, man.
This is the adventure realm. They get on a little dinghy.
This is the most fucked up part of the movie. I mean, legit.
I'll let you talk about it. In a second.
Yep.
They get into a little dinghy and they're rowing out into the ocean and they encounter Captain Ahab. And now we have the second animated sequence that looks really good, where everything turns red and fucked up and dreamlike as he's chasing Moby Dick. And then Moby Dick the whale capsizes their boat. We think horror and fantasy are dead. It's just Richard and adventure on a boat on the dinghy. Like, I wish the others weren't dead. They're my only friends I've ever had. We've only been together 9 minutes, but I know how connected I am to them. And then they get abducted by some pirates from Treasure Island, including Long John Silver. And then what happens?
Okay, it's not alluded to what other function. Okay, let's just say this. Immediately, the 2 pirates that capture the boy, they don't give a shit about the talking book. They immediately start salivating over the fact that they have an alive child to bring to the captain. This is just his flavor. He's really into this. But it's not like, we're going to put you to work, boy. You'll swab the deck. They make no mention of any duties he's going to have, but they're all looking at him like they're so hungry, like he's a chicken leg. And then they bring him on the boat, and then the captain does not help. He too is super excited about having a slave. Like, you need to say what you want him for, or else I'm immediately thinking sex trafficking. What the fuck?
Yeah, what is this boat? The Lolita Express?
Well, no, like you need a cabin boy for sex. That's it. That's all I can think of.
I think
he's all too thirsty.
to play movies advocate. They're thinking like, this is Treasure Island. Of course a boy is going to be, you'll be our steward or our sweet boy
so
or whatever.
Say that.
No, they think you know it. You know Treasure Island so well. When I was a kid, I thought Treasure Island must be the most important book ever written because every fucking movie references it. It's getting remade as a Muppet version and a sci-fi version and a this movie. And maybe I should read it.
That leaves all the dyslexics to think that sex is normal if you're a boy and a pirate, then fine. Just saying. I wasn't reading Treasure Island or watching it. So you leave me to just think, I better not get captured by any adults. They'll need me to do things they won't describe out loud.
Which is true.
Not of all adults.
They find
Just
Treasure
the ones
Island.
that catch the kids.
They get to Treasure Island. They're looking for the treasure. They don't find it. They turn on Long John Silver. Horror and fantasy. They're alive. They're pretending to be ghosts. They scare the pirates away. And then Richard finds his courage, picks up a sword. He's like, get out of here, you pirate, you. And that's that. Yeah. That's the end of the adventure section. Oh, and when he sees fantasy, Whoopi Goldberg, he's like, fantasy. And Whoopi Goldberg's like, well, who are you expecting? The Tooth Fairy?
Hilarious.
Why doesn't this movie have jokes?
I
feel
don't know.
Every joke is like placeholder. We'll think of something funny later.
And like Whoopi had a couple of fun. They don't realize that the beauty of her is her delivery of anything. Just give her stuff to say. Let her fill in the blank.
She could bring you your Uber Eats and it'd be great. She'd deliver anything.
Well, I'm always excited to get that, so that's kind of cheating. Yeah. Yep.
It was, oh, well, you know what? We're not totally out of the adventure woods because horror gets captured by some little things and he enters a Gulliver's Travels where the little pixie men are, yes?
Just looks like Richard is rolling a joint right here. Got a fat doob.
And he's like, oh no, I lost my library card. But 35 seconds later, they find it. Oh, okay. So no conflict there.
Well, because this entire time, Richard has been promising these books. like we all need to get to we are all invested in me getting to that exit sign because I'm going to check you guys out. I'm totally going to. So I guess he has to play it up with my library card. How will I ever? So.
The stakes couldn't be higher. Horror's been kidnapped by the Gulliver's Travels people, but they rescue him. Conflict resolved. Oh, and there's this rivalry between horror and adventure. Horror is annoying. Adventure doesn't like him, but now they like each other. So that conflict's resolved. Just
it's very fast.
Looking for something to happen. Will something please happen in this movie? No.
The answer is not.
To fantasy. And this, I just have to play this clip. This is insane.
Okay.
But this is like, so we transition into the fantasy world. And there's like an extremely complicated and expensive looking animation sequence that I think looks really good. But while it's happening, this like Disney Tim Rice pop song is playing. It's like
oh God, it's so weird.
It's so jarring.
And that's why I thought that this fantasy section was really stuck on appealing to the princess craze at the time. Like they needed that, and they needed to have their signature princess song in the movie. I just think they're trying to get a broader audience and appealing to little girls. That's why it felt dirty to have it.
Well, yeah, like what are the
it felt cynical.
What are the things that signal Disney princess movie? We gotta have
a ballad.
But this is like the song that plays in the closing credits of the Disney movie.
That's the saddest part. Is again, this isn't talented enough to ever be that. It's also not coming from the mouth of a princess. It's coming from something we don't see. So they kind of don't even understand what the appeal of the song is. It's like this emotional expression from the character we already care about. Doing it this way is fucking weird. Like,
there's been nothing like this the whole movie. It's only this is playing.
Like, why am I supposed to be invested in this?
But look, this is probably 80% of the movie's budget. Just this 30 seconds of animation right here.
And why so much ceremony over fantasy? Why do we not need to care about adventure or
because
horror?
It's the magic of literature.
But the other things are books too.
Not like this though. Not like Mother Goose.
And what about nonfiction?
Okay. That just wanted to
so weird.
Call attention to that.
Please.
So weird. Yeah, but there's like little Disney nymphs and stuff, and it's just like the movie's like screaming at you, this is magic. You're enchanted.
Right. We don't know how to show you anything. We haven't built a world here. We're only going to be here for 7.5 minutes.
And the dragon comes out. Like, oh, dragon, oh my God, dragon.
It turns into horror pretty quick though. It's like an adventure. Like for a fantasy book, you really kind of picked the most horrifically adventurous thing you could have.
But it's bringing all the elements together.
Yeah, I got it.
Like a beautiful Swiss watch.
Sure. Do you know a lot about Swiss watches?
I know so much.
You sure that your metaphor works together? Here?
Yes. Wait. A watch as a metaphor. A watch as a metaphor for machinery where everything is
specifically
the height of excellent craftsmanship. Why are you shitting on this? What?
You've never spoken of a watch before. You don't wear one. I just didn't know you
I do wear a watch, but I know Swiss watches are good.
What about them, though?
This is so weird.
It's a weird comment. You never spoke of your love of Swiss watches before.
We got to say something on this show. God, I hate you.
That's a good conclusion to come to.
Fantasy summons a flying carpet from Arabian Nights, so it's not a ripoff of Aladdin. Oh, and then the Queen of Hearts from Alice in Wonderland comes, but it's not a ripoff of Disney because that's from a book.
That they use a fucking flying carpet is buck wild.
Mm-hmm.
And Aladdin had been 1 year before, right? Or 2?
2, yeah.
Swing on a vine. There are other ways to get up there. You take a lot of ferries and then tie them together. Make a fairy raft right up there.
Something. And then what happens?
And then he's a kid in King Arthur's court on a beanstalk, I think.
You don't remember?
I don't remember. I know that he goes.
The dragon swallows Fantasy's wand. So he picks up a sword and he's like, I'm going to fight the dragon, but the dragon swallows him.
And it's fucking gross in there. I will say that. But interesting use of books.
But there's lots of books. The dragon's also swallowed lots of books.
The dragon is books.
And the dragon is books.
This whole world is books. Where's that coming from?
That's coming from outside, I guess.
That is loud as hell.
Sorry, everybody. Sorry. There's a little bird.
A little birdie told me.
So he's inside the dragon's belly and he hears the pagemaster say, look to the books. He's like, look to the books.
We're going to totally scar this fucking dragon for life. A bean sprout's going to shoot out of him.
He opens up Jack and the Beanstalk. I meant to look up, is Jack and the Beanstalk a book?
Right, probably just a tale inside of a bigger book.
Yeah, I'm sure a book has been published containing that story, so fine.
It's definitely like a little golden melody book.
That's true.
A little golden book, whatever.
Well, the Beanstalk grows, he gets out of the dragon that way, and he saves the books, and they make it through the exit. They did it.
Yeah. Yay.
He's found the Noive, is what I'm saying. And then they meet the Pagemaster.
What's a Noive?
The nerve. Like the Cowardly Lion. If I only had the Noive.
Oh, okay.
They meet the Pagemaster. And again, this is hasn't the whole movie been building to finally we get to see the Pagemaster? But
for it to be called the Pagemaster.
We already met him. And he's like, well, I already told you this. And you did exactly what I said. Good job.
In conclusion.
Yeah. But Richard, he's mad. He's like, I was in a lot of danger, you son of a bitch. But, this perilous journey has given you the courage, the magic of books. Listen,
to wake up from your coma. If any little boy had been passed out for this long in my place of work, 911 will have been called.
But Christopher Lloyd orchestrated that. He's like, okay, good. He's passed out.
I'm going to make him extra wet.
Now I can have my way
so that
with
he's
him.
Slippery.
And my way is...
As he squirted lube all over him as he walked by. That wasn't water. Just
it's like, no, I'm not doing anything weird. I'm just sending him into books.
Into the
so he can learn his courage.
So your screams will be amplified.
It's like, nobody's going to be mad at the idea that kids do need to understand, you're going to go through hard times in life and that's okay. And that's what gives you, resilience and courage. That's how character is built up. But it is such an instant, it's like, okay, pick a message. What message can we get? That way. Courage, have courage. But, He rides his bike home this time without a helmet because he's no longer a cuck. And he goes over the bike ramp and he lands.
Without a helmet.
You're right. And he lands and he inverts his classic catchphrase and he says, that was good. That was definitely good.
I didn't even freaking notice.
I noticed the second time.
Also, isn't...
Swiss watch.
Perfect. Isn't the ramp that he goes up, isn't it made out of street sign garbage? Doesn't he kind of take the things that protect him and use it as something dangerous?
No, it's just
yes, he does.
Okay, fine. He returns home. His parents have been driving around looking for him all day. They're like, I'm getting kind of worried, honey. Shouldn't we be worried now
I should have given you 2 blowjobs in this car ride to look for him.
No, look, he's asleep in the treehouse. Oh,
why would you even check there?
Well, they see his bike is down.
Oh,
so, okay,
true.
so he's home. Wait a minute. It couldn't be. He's asleep in his treehouse.
You'd think they'd go inside where he lives all the time, not in the place he does not like.
So, I mean, we're at the end of this discussion, and we've had a lot of feelings about this movie, right? A lot of we're trying to work through.
If only there were a book to help me through this.
It's throwing a lot out there. We're trying to make sense of it. Why did they make this movie? Why did they say this thing that they said? And why is it that we feel this way? And then also we have our own sort of feelings and experiences about.
What are you building to?
Well, I'll tell you about reading, about the need to develop resiliency and resolve. And I was like trying to make sense of it. And one of the ways we make sense of it is through books, but more broadly through art, through expression.
Oh, Jesus Christ. What is this?
So I wrote a song about it. It goes like this.
Oh my God. What?
This is a song. I wrote this song.
Okay. Pagemaster of Puppets. Got it.
That's what it's called.
Yeah. Does it have
Richard is my name. Played by Macaulay. I'm afraid of my own treehouse. Data I recite. I'm trying not to die. Maybe I can hide in this library. This old man I see, intent on selling me, pushed into my arms, a library cat. I'm a doomcaster, statistic blaster. This reading pastor is the Pagemaster. Master of publishing. Adventure, horror, and fantasy. Read some ideas and question things. Conquer my fears, I won't be a pussy. Pagemaster, master of publishing. Pagemaster.
Master.
All right, there's only 7 more minutes.
Okay. Oh, good. I'm going to shimmy. It's what the kids like.
Everywhere I look, I'm entering a book. Atlas shrugged and the corrections.
What?
The possibilities. 50 Shades of Grey.
Enter that book.
Spend 10,000 hours with Malcolm Gladwell.
Statistics, y'all.
Open gender queer.
Ooh.
Now what's that I hear? It seems I have to stop. Some boomers called the cops.
Karen. Karen is actually just very caring. You know when you think about it? Caring about the kids. That's amazing.